have to adapt the bullying policy, and that's what is a place they can trust individuals, they can express themselves, they can be who they are and develop as young adults. The intent of this law is to force schools to address this issue. Primarily, the bullying in school in the past has been something you would typically handle through discipline. You might see a fight, you might see, kids ragging on one another here and there, et cetera, et cetera. But as it got more severe in schools, that was a pretty blatant school issue. Well, cyberbullying brings a whole new aspect to it, and Paul can, attest to this as well. The nasty things that go on through text messages, Facebook, Twitter, Ask FM is just unbelievable. You sit there and you say, who are these kids? These cannot be the same kids that are walking through our hallways. And then sometimes when you have the kids sitting in front of you, just their reaction, they like, yeah, I'm sorry I did it, I wouldn't have done this, I didn't really think this through. It's just amazing what dynamic that brings to it. And a lot of people in the beginning when this was happening, weren't sure how to address it. And it became the state and federal government saying, you know how we address this? It's a school issue. Why? Because it impacts a child's education. That if they feel safe in your schools, does it disrupt their education process? Does it disrupt their socialization in school, et cetera, et cetera? Is it or is it not part of the development of a child? And they said yes and decided it's up to the schools to mediate this, even if it occurs outside of that. We spend a ton of time with discipline doing this. But I have to say, I don't always have a parent or a student walking into my office with, a printout of Facebook. What's been great is staff hear something, or a student seeing down, and the staff here have pretty strong relationships with the children, and they come to us and say something's up, and we talk to it. That's when we find these things. So I encourage you guys to continue to do that. All school boards are required to adopt the policy. Our policy can be found in our student handbook. It's in pages 35 through 40. At the end of this PowerPoint, I have some links and sources. It's right there. You can click on it, bring you right to it to make it easy. This will be put in the public drive as well. The policy should acknowledge that bullying and cyberbullying can occur both in and out of school. It is our responsibility, if it disrupts the student's opportunity to receive an education here, it's our responsibility as a school to address the situation. We have in our policy, it outlines all the steps we have to do as a school. Majority of them, Paul and myself are doing whenever these reports are made, but the reports start with staff here recognizing what's going on and reporting it to us. Bullying is sometimes confused with just, a fight that occurs in the hallway or an argument between two students. That's not necessarily bullying. Bullying is a single event or a pattern of events that has made a significant impact on the student. Incidents involving written, verbal, or electronic communication, physical act, gesture directed at another pupil, it can cause physical harm or damage to the pupil's property, causes emotional distress. If a child is severely depressed, I've had kids breaking down in my office crying, refusing to go back out there, refusing to go back to their class because you can't make me sit through this again. When that's going on, that's severe emotional distress. It interferes with the students' educational opportunities. It creates a hostile educational environment where they don't feel safe coming here. They're walking through our halls every day trying to figure out how am I going to make it through this next class? How am I going to make it through lunch? It substantially disrupts the orderly operation of the building. We cannot, our orderly operation of this building is to provide an education for students. We can't do that if the whole time they're sitting in our classroom, they're thinking about how do I get out of here before so-and-so? How am I going to get through lunch without so-and-so bothering me, et cetera, et cetera. And at the bottom, all bullying shall include actions motivated by an imbalance of power. It can include, it doesn't have to be one individual, if it's a group of individuals. Then also, each individual in that group would be, constituted as a bully. Cyberbullying, you guys, I'm sure, are very familiar with some of the stuff that goes on. You've heard it yourself in your classroom, but single acts or acts of bullying that are conducted through the use of, electronic devices such as cell phones, text messages, social media, Twitter, Facebook, emails, etc. Here's some brief statistics. At the top, you see the different levels of school through preschool through high school, the number of students in the state of New Hampshire enrolled in all levels. The second row is the number of reported bullying incidents in New Hampshire. The third row are the actual confirmed cases. 580 confirmed at the elementary school level in 2012-2013, 579 at the middle school, 479 at the high school. The last row is confirmed acts of cyberbullying. 53 at the elementary school, 83 at the middle school, and 154 at the high school. Now, I have to tell you, those are the ones that are reported. The vast majority of these acts are not reported. Why? Students don't want to tell us this. They think it's going to make it worse. That's why it's even more important, teachers on the front lines, and you guys have been wonderful about this. Letting us know if you hear, see something, see a change in the students' behavior that would suggest something's going on. Next thing is the signs and acts that a child is a victim. Look for changes in the child. Unexplained injuries, frequent headaches, stomach aches, feeling sick, or faking illnesses to get out of class. Changes in the eating habits, suddenly skipping lunch or binge eating. Declining grades, loss of interest in class, academic success is taking a plummet. Sudden loss of friends, avoidance of social situations. They were a vibrant young gentleman or lady who was very social in their class, but now are avoiding those opportunities. Sudden feelings of helplessness or decreased self-esteem, and self-destructive behaviors such as running away from home, harming themselves, or talking about suicide. Signs that a child is bullying others. They get into physical or verbal fights. They have friends and others that are bullying others. Are increasingly aggressive. Have unexplained belongings. You always hear somebody when, hey, those are some nice headphones. Where'd you get those? Oh, I borrowed them from Timmy. You borrowed them from Timmy. Timmy lent you Dre Beats? That's really nice of him. They blame others for their problems. They don't accept responsibility for their actions and are competitive and worry about their reputation and popularity. What can you do as teachers, administrators, educators? One, know your district's policy. I listed where you can find ours. There's a link at the end of this. It's right on the PA homepage as well. You can educate your students on diversity. Most of these situations occur due to physical handicap, noticeable differences about a student, race, ethnicity, culture. Those are usually the targets. So it can go beyond that, but if that's the situation, educate your kids on diversity through your curriculum. Know who to report incidents to or simply report it to any administrator. If you tell any administrator, it's going to get to the right person and it will be followed through on. After you have filed the report, follow up with the student. Form a personal connection with the child. See how he or her are doing, if it's continuing, and if it is continuing, or if it's happening through a third party, let us know. Be familiar with the characteristics of a bully, perpetrators, victims, targets, and bystanders. Got a brief video for you guys.
Like all of you, I was shocked and saddened by the deaths of several young people who were bullied and taunted for being gay, and who ultimately took their own lives. As a parent of 2 daughters, it breaks my heart. It's something that just shouldn't happen in this country. And we've got to dispel this myth that bullying is just a normal rite of passage, that it's some inevitable part of growing up. It's not. We have an obligation to ensure that our schools are safe for all of our kids. And to every young person out there, you need to know that if you're in trouble, there are caring adults who can help. I don't know what it's like to be picked on for being gay, but I do know what it's like to grow up feeling that sometimes you don't belong. It's tough. For a lot of kids, the sense of being alone or apart, I know it can just wear on you. And when you're teased or bullied, It can seem like somehow you brought it on yourself for being different or for not fitting in with everybody else. But what I want to say is this: you are not alone. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything to deserve being bullied. And there is a whole world waiting for you, filled with possibilities. There are people out there who love you and care about you just the way you are. And so, if you ever feel like, because of bullying, because of what people are saying, that you're getting down on yourself, you've got to make sure to reach out to people you trust. Whether it's your parents, teachers, folks that you know care about you just the way you are, you've got to reach out to them. Don't feel like you're in this by yourself. The other thing you need to know is things will get better. More than that, in time you're going to see that your differences are a source of pride, a source of strength. You'll look back on the struggles you faced with compassion and wisdom, and that's not just going to serve you, but it'll help you get involved and make this country a better place. It means that you'll be more likely to help fight discrimination, not just against LGBT Americans, but discrimination in all its forms. It means you'll be more likely to understand personally and deeply why it's so important that as adults we set an example in our own lives, that we treat everybody with respect, that we are able to see the world through other people's eyes and stand in their shoes, that we never lose sight of what binds us together. As a nation, we're founded on the belief that all of us are equal and each of us deserves the freedom to pursue our own version of happiness, to make the most of our talents, to speak our minds, to not fit in, most of all, to be true to ourselves. That's the freedom that enriches all of us. That's what America's all about. And every day, it gets better.
Right, and here at the end of it, that video just kind of sums it up. We hear him talk about educators and in our country, and that this shouldn't be happening here. We are developing the citizens of this country. That is our job. That is our role, is to produce functional citizens of society. So we are the front lines for this. What I've listed here are some resources that set up through the New Hampshire Department of Education. They have reports, all the statistics in the last couple of years. The state of New Hampshire reported bullying statistics, as well as a number of organizations that will provide resources for classroom teachers, as well as, if you contact them early enough, will come in and do presentations in your school in regards to bullying. And that is it, guys. At the end, there's also a link to the student handbook where you can find the policy. All right, that's all.